Hello. I thought I'd go over something that I thought was kind of interesting. I was taking Mr. Bones there out of the closet, and way in the back of the closet, I found this. This is a desktop type calendar. You see the date is what's the date on here? Oh, 2017. Right here. And what I used to do with these, and this is a handy thing. You might want to try this. I figure I don't know why this isn't thrown away. I just had it, and it got stuck back there in the closet. But for about 10 years, I would buy one of these every year, a desktop calendar like this. And I would keep track of my readings for each day and add them up at the end of the week, along with the money I made from those readings. And what was nice about this, I want to show what I'm talking about here. What's nice about this is when you got something that you're writing on like this, keeping track of things which you're writing, you can see a chart of it. You can see it on the wall or whatever. You could have this hanging on a door or something like that. And it makes you really try to get those readings going, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to add them up. And if you had no readings, you just put a big X through that day, no readings. And so this is the way this thing looked. I'm going to show this here. So you can see, okay, over here, 2 20-minute readings for Sunday. This is Kate, KD, half an hour. And then transformations, transformations, a store I worked at, Natalie and Nancy. So you can see that I have the names. Blue Feather was a store I worked at. Transformations, a store I worked at. And you can see the names of the people here. And at the end of the week, you add this up. And I didn't do nothing that day. You add this up. And you would write down how many readings you did for that week in money. So that was it was a nice thing to have. It was a nice thing to do. And I did this for about 10 years. And really it helped you realize where your money's coming from and where who your clients are and where it's all coming from. And it allowed to see you after a while you saw patterns and you sort of anticipate how much money you're going to make at the end of the week. And usually I make 500, or I usually make 600 or something like that at the end of each week. I could look over time and see, well, that's usually the case. So it would help you to try to figure out where you're headed as far as your business goes. This was keeping track of phone readings and readings I did at different stores. And that's it. If I was doing any corporate events or house parties, festivals, things like that, that wasn't on here. This was just basically phone readings and what I made at different stores that day. And I might work 1 or 2 different stores. But it was really handy to have. One of the reasons it's handy is because it allows you to see who your clients are and where you're getting most of your business from. one thing I think that people have a misconception with, if you're going to be a reader, is thinking that you're going to be reading hundreds of different people. At least with me, that's not the case. What I would say that I live in Cook County, which is the county Chicago's in, and I think there's about 4 million people in Cook County. And I would say that you're probably, as a reader, if you have 10 clients, you're busy. If you have 10 people that call you on the phone for readings, you are busy. And because these people call you over and over again. And what happens is, let's say you have one client who's you've been reading out of the 10, and their issue becomes over with, and they don't need a reading anymore. Well, somebody else starts to come into the picture. So as one leaves, another comes in. And if you have a base of 10 people, you're doing very, very well. And a lot of your readings are going to be repeat people. So when you're reading people, keep in mind that what you're really trying to do is build a client. It's not about that one reading. It's about a person that has an issue that when they have other questions about that issue, they're going to call you. That's what you want them to be, people that want to call you. Or if they have another issue comes up in their life down the road, they're going to call you. If you have that kind of a attitude, that's my goal. I'm building a client. That's good to think of. That's a good way to look at it. And some clients will last for a couple months. Some will last for years and everything in between. And that's the way it goes. At least that's the way it worked with me, and that's the way it works with Linda too. So I went through the whole year of this thing. It was every year is in here, every month. And I looked at my clients over the course of that year, and I have basically I had 12 clients here. These are steady people that would call me. And once you're their reader, they call you for anything that they have an issue with. Out of those 12 people, I would say that there was a half a dozen that are really consistent people that would call all the time. So I wrote down how many times these people called me for the course of the year. And the most I had was the one person for the over looking through this calendar. These are phone readings. Kate, I read 114 times during the course of 2017. 114 times. Nancy was the second one. She was 90 times. And then there was the third one was I have a woman here who I read 48 times. And then the fourth most popular was 16 times. So it's top to bottom. The most prominent readings I did was one for 114 readings. The second person was 90 readings. Third was 48 readings. And the fourth was 16 readings. So it gives you an idea of how you're getting your business. Some of these people I've read for 20 years. One of them I know I've read for 20 years, and I think last time I saw her was probably a good 15 years ago. I saw her once in that last 15 years, and that's because I always said, if you ever get married, I'm going to go and dance at your wedding. And she did get married, and Linda and I were invited, and we danced at her wedding. But I read her initially face to face at a store, and then for a couple of years, and then for the last 15 years of her readings, though I did, was on the phone, and I never saw her. So that's the kind of thing you get. reason I like working at stores and festivals is because it gives you the opportunity to read somebody face to face. And then you give them your card and tell them you do phone readings. You're always available for a phone reading. Call me anytime. Take a credit card right over the phone. And once you've read them face to face, they know who you are and they'll call you for a phone reading. And so I like doing face to face readings to drum up my phone reading business. It's a good way to get phone readings. I go over a lot of this in Straight Tarot, how to survive as a tarot reader. That's there too. So if you have a client base of 10 people that are consistently calling you over an issue that's going on at that particular time, and one of them fades out, another one's coming in. As one leaves with their issues done, another one comes in with an issue that they have a situation with. And life's always full of different challenges. So any one of these people have an issue going on, they're going to call me. And they're going to tell me about it, and we're going to talk about it. And sometimes they'll call me. I've had people call me 4 times in one day. But usually, like I said, one of these people called me 114 times in a year, in that year, 2017. Another one was 90. So you're going to get, they're calling you all the time. And you might get through with one issue, and maybe you won't hear from them for a month. And then they'll call you with another issue. Or maybe the first one changes in some way, and now they need some other type of advice. Something changed with this. And so things can go on and on. And when they want to talk to their reader, you're the person who they get readings from, and they call you. So this type of a thing allowed me to see how many, keeping track of the people easy that way. Another nice thing with something like this was, let's say I'm reading somebody here, let's say like Kate, and she looks at her credit card statement this month and she says, oh my gosh, I got 5 readings from Vince. And she looks through it and she sees one on the 15th and one on the 16th, and they're both half-hour readings. And she's thinking, I think he might have charged me twice here. I don't remember getting that reading. And she'll call you up and say, hey, I got 2 charges here. Did you charge me twice for a reading? I don't remember having. And I could look on my calendar and say, no, yeah, you called me and we talked on the 15th, and we called again the second time. And we called and we did another half-an-hour reading then too. But I can verify that by this calendar. And once you do that, then they're fine. So, okay, just making sure. So that was a big help for that type of thing, being able to verify if there was any question about anything. And some people will just call you once a month. And 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 people here that called me maybe 5 times in a year. So some are very sparse, and then others are always there, constantly getting reads until some issue is taken care of. And then they might leave you alone for a while. But when you're doing festivals or working in a house somewhere, anybody you read, you let them know. I'm also available for phone readings. You can call me anytime. I tell them you're never bothering me. Just call. Here's my card. And I take a credit card right over the phone. And this way they know they're not bothering you if they call. And once they've had an actual face-to-face with you, then they feel very comfortable about getting phone readings. But they know who you are. And they know what you're about. So having this type of a thing here can be very helpful. It allows you to see how much money you made doing phone readings. You can keep track of other stuff on there too if you want to. I just used that for the phone readings and the stores I worked as a house reader. But it is a handy thing to have. And you'll find yourself being able to look back and say, okay, well, this is how much money I made this year doing phone readings. And like I said, we did that for about 10 years. And it really was very insightful for me to see. But believe me, if you have 10 clients, clients are people that are going to call you all the time. They're going to call you with issues going on in their life. And lots of times it's the same issue over and over again. Sometimes it'll be variable, various issues, things going on. Just whenever there's something going on, they'll give you a call. But if you met them, any of my regular clients are people that I've met face to face at one time or another. One of them I just met one time, maybe twice. And I've been reading her for over 20 years. Just met her twice. The other one, I said Kate before that. I used to read her all the time at a store. And but I had in 15 years, I didn't see her except for when I went to a wedding. So it's not a matter of getting thousands of people you read, no, it's a matter of getting clients. And clients are people that when they got an issue, they're going to call you. And life is always full of issues. So if you're their person, they'll be calling you when they need you. What I like about phone readings, you could be anywhere. And that phone will ring and you're doing a reading. You could be on vacation somewhere. I said, it's a great feeling when you go out of town and do a festival somewhere and you're in your hotel room and it's 8 o'clock in the morning and you're having your morning coffee before you go back to the festival to start another day. And the phone rings and it's a client looking for a phone reading. And here you are you're sitting there and you're having your morning coffee, doing a phone reading. You haven't even left the hotel yet and you're making money. It's a nice feeling. So phone readings are really the way to go as far as I'm concerned. And you could change that. If you want to do Zoom meetings, you can do that too. But with a phone, you always got your phone with you. And you could read them. I've read people in my car just pull over and throw a spread on the passenger seat. I've done that. So I did 315 phone readings and readings at different stores in 2017. And that makes sense. You can keep track of other things too. Like if you put on it was a 15-minute reading, or if it was a half an hour reading, I do that on the calendar as well. Kate, half hour, or I usually show the time, the amount. So let's say it's Kate, and I have $75. That means I know I read her for a half an hour. And then I got Mary, $140. Well, I know it's an hour. And that's a good way to do it. But other things, so you can keep track of other things. Like in January that year, I read 22 and a half hours, February 20 hours, March 25 hours, April 24 and a half, May 29 and a half, June 18, July 22, August 19, September 15, October 16, November 11, December 10. That last quarter was really slow, probably because of the holidays. But that shows you can keep track of things like that too. Another thing that I like to do with my phone readings, with my readings, you have people that you're reading all the time, the same people. And so let's say you want to raise your prices. What I do is I tell people 6-month notice. I give them a 6-month notice. I'm just tell people, next time I read them, I say to them, look, I just want to let you know, March of 2023, I'm going to be raising my prices to X amount of dollars, whatever it's going to be. So I'm just giving you the notice now, in case you want to go to a different reader or something like that. You got 6 months to make that goal. And they don't ever care, but it's just a nice way to let them know, giving them a lot of time to be able to make adjustments if they want to. And you might want to even remind them in a couple months after that and tell them, remember, March, I'm raising the prices. They'll say, yeah, okay. And this way, when you do raise your prices, they don't care. You let them get ready for that. So it's a good way to do it instead of just springing it on them before the reading starts. Oh, by the way, my prices now are X amount instead of what it was before. Give them a 6-month notice. It helps. It goes a long way. So anyway, keeping track of your readings. I don't do this anymore. Like I said, I think I did this for 10 years. And I don't keep them, but this one was in the closet. I said 2017. Wow. Okay. And so I started looking it over, and they were handy to use. Anyway, something to keep in mind. Anyway, something to keep in mind. And our next tarot meeting, our Zoom meeting, is the 11th of October, 12 o'clock Chicago time. Go on by, say hello. Keep throwing cards. Talk soon. Bye.